Hey, good evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin. An update this evening on Invest 93, which remains over northern Florida. Now, this position of the Invest is from 1 o'clock this afternoon. Where it is now is a little bit more inland and almost kind of west-northwest motion since earlier this afternoon. We can actually kind of confirm that on our radar. There had been a little bit of a mid-level circulation around the Gainesville area. Now, most of the thunderstorm activity is offshore. There almost looked to be a little bit of a spin here moving off of Cedar Key. But when we go to our NEXRAD, meaning radars from all over the country, you can clearly see that little spin north of Gainesville and between Gainesville and Lake City, kind of right along I-75. So if this is where the center is, what are the winds doing? Not much at all, 6 and 7 miles an hour. There is definitely still kind of a broad overall rotation, nothing that is really closed off. And this is basically still just a surface trough. Notice the winds well offshore, 22 miles an hour. Now, what is something that we'll have to watch, this is again where the quote-unquote center is, but it isn't much of a center at all. And there are still storms along that boundary. So it is possible, but none of the models picking up on this. I'm just mentioning that again, here is where that broad circulation is, but this is all associated with a surface trough that extends into the Gulf. With this not being much of a center per se, it's possible that with these storms now moving offshore, this is where something does try and form. I'm not saying that will happen, and right now none of the models are indicating that. I just want to mention that if that is end up being the case, then it would be out over water, because right now a lot of the model guidance indicates this could stay on land or just barely hug the northern Gulf Coast. What we do know right now is that it is going to be sending a surge of moisture our way. Available moisture, meaning whatever rains we see could potentially be heavy. And that will probably continue on into Saturday, beginning later tomorrow night. So as far as the official rainfall totals go, kind of a rough estimate at this point. Really, again, depending upon the strength, the structure of this storm, whether or not it really has much organization to it at all. Looking at probably 3 to 6 plus inches of rain overall beginning Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on into Saturday. So if we can take that in small doses, we should be okay. Any heavy downpours all of a sudden, then we have more of a flooding threat. And also notice a little bit more of a bullseye of almost 7 to 10 inches across parts of the Atchafalaya toward Acadiana parishes. Now, for us through the night, or excuse me, starting tomorrow afternoon and through Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and into early Saturday, I would think, we will have a flood watch in effect where we are expecting 3 to 6 plus inches, but some localized amounts of 10 are possible. I think that is the more extreme possibility. Now, as far as when that begins, we should start seeing some of that rainfall move in late Wednesday night, becoming a bit more widespread and more of the heavy rainfall on Thursday. Friday could be our worst day, especially for areas just off to our west, though it does include western Terrebonne Parish. Friday, a greater concern for the flooding around southwest and south central Louisiana. Saturday, again, a more focused out to our west, and by Saturday, our rain chances should begin decreasing. The reason we're expecting this almost due westerly motion is because of the upper steering. Right now, still kind of a hostile environment in the Gulf. We have kind of an elongated upper level low here. There's another mid-level low just to the south, and then an upper high to the north. And basically, our invest is stuck in between the high and this low. It really can't go anywhere else other than due west. Now, this is all in the assumption that the invest that is on land is the center. If it tries to redevelop farther offshore, then again, that westerly motion would be farther south than what the model consensus is. And so a lot is going to really depend upon where that center does eventually emerge, if at all, or if a new center tries to form. As far as the timing goes, we're looking at it almost due west by Thursday. There is a possibility that even if it does stay on land, it briefly dips into the Gulf waters before moving inland over southeast Louisiana. Again, it is not going to have a whole lot of time to really organize, and even if it were to move over water, say around the Big Bend and stay just to the south of the coastline, that land interaction should also help to keep the center disrupted and really prevent it from organizing very much beyond a depression or at the strongest a tropical storm. That right now appears to be kind of the limit on how strong this could get. Again, crazier things have happened, but just based on the model consensus from run to run and what we have been seeing with that system now on land, I would say the strongest this would likely be is a tropical storm. At probability-wise, more like a depression at the most. As we head into Thursday, this upper low starts pulling north, and that should allow the storm to eventually turn, I say storm, the invest, as start turning toward the north and drawing up all of that rainfall with it as well. Here is the European model run with the overlay of the spaghetti plot. So the Euro, at least the operational run, is a little farther south than most of the model consensus. It's giving it a little bit more time over water before eventually moving into and kind of right along the South Louisiana coastline, kind of running a bit farther south from most of the model consensus. And this precision cast model, that's our IBM graph model, is even farther south than that, giving the system far more time over open water and actually kind of scooting along the Louisiana coast, which means it would stay over those warm Gulf waters Thursday into Friday, whereas at this point, most of the other models have it already inland. We will have to wait and see where a center emerges and what that center is. Does it stay inland farther north, or with those thunderstorms moving offshore right now, does a center try and form in there? Right now, the greatest potential or the greatest threat is that heavy rain potential. Kind of secondary to that is the possibility of tropical development. Obviously, if this were to become a tropical storm, then we'd have some stronger winds and more of a coastal flooding concern with a little bit more of a storm surge element. Right now, more of a heavy rainfall with those rounds beginning late tomorrow through Friday, somewhat into Saturday, with 3 to 6 inches plus possible. So what we can do right now, and again, it's still more of that waiting game. Wait to see what forms, if anything at all. WWL Plus right here, we will continue to update this situation, and always on our WWL app and social media pages, as well as on all of our morning and evening newscast. We will update things as new information comes out. As a matter of fact, for our 10 o'clock news tomorrow night, we'll get a new set of those spaghetti plots. So we'll see if they're continuing kind of a trek right along the coast or inland, or if there is any kind of a shift. We'll also be watching those thunderstorms off now the Florida coast to see if maybe that tries to organize. But for right now, Invest 93 inland, and we are not anticipating anything other than heavy rain, which heavy rain in southeast Louisiana can be a threat enough. And as of right now, that looks to be our greatest concern.